What's up, you guys? I just finished at the gym, and really, I'm just here to kind of talk about this whole looks maxing thing, you know? I think looks maxing is like the new age kind of taking care of yourself. And I feel like that kind of started when millennials were teenagers. We kind of got into like, you know, the fancy like Axe body wash. You know, we had the gel, we had like all this stuff that our parents generation never really had, right? Well, I feel like looks maxing at its core is really just like a hyper fixation on taking care of yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyone who hates on looks maxing, like, there's different levels, right? And everyone is entitled to make themselves look as good as they want, really. I mean, it's your body. Just kind of don't lie about it. Don't lead people to think that like they can have the exact same benefits by doing exactly like what you do, because we're all unique, right? We're all different. There's things that make us, like, that set us apart. We have different body types, different genetics. All of that stuff plays into, like, you know, the looks maxing activities, really. But I think looks maxing benefits corporations because we spend all this money on all this stuff. And, you know, like I said, I really noticed people doing that more so with my generation. I myself included, like, you know, I'd always buy the nice Garnier shampoo and the Axe body wash with the little scrubbies in it. Like, they really marketed to our generation. But anyway, some things you can kind of keep in the car to be able to looks max in a jiffy, essentially. Maybe I'll call this video looks maxing in a jiffy on the go. You want to have some of these serviettes. One of these, like, I've got a whole bunch in my gym bag here. You know, that's where I keep them, because you never know when you're gonna need a moist serviette, right? So I got a little baggie of moist serviettes. And basically, first thing you want to do, you also want to keep some hand sanitizer, because that's first. Like, you can't have dirty hands, right? You got to be clean. You don't want germs. So hit your hands with that sanitizer. And it's also a good idea, whenever you leave the gym, wash your hands, because there's a lot of bacteria in there. So first, you hit it with the sanitizer. Next, you're going to open up your moist towelette. And if it's not really too damp, you're gonna kind of dampen it with a little bit of water that you got. Mine is good, but they do dry out. And basically, you just want to unravel it. It's pretty simple. Once you get it unraveled, first thing you're gonna do is kind of, with half of it, just kind of go across your forehead. Make sure you get rid of some of that oil, right? And then like a little bit right here. Now, with the, if you only have a couple and you got to make them last, keep a clean corner. Get along the lips, kind of on the go, right? Boom, you're taken care of. Make sure your hands are good. Then you want to get some decent hand lotion. I got this in my advent calendar. It's basically like a manly advent calendar with little products in it. So you just hit, this is kind of has a Christmassy scent to it. So yeah, you just add it, kind of, just, you want to be smelling good. You want to be clean, you know? Hit your neck a little bit with it. Boom, Bob's your uncle. Now you're decent, your looks maxed. You can go do whatever it is, you know? You can kind of get ready, put on the fresh clothes you got, you know? If you don't have much, another good hack is bring a gym shirt, like that shows off your muscles and stuff, and then work out with the shirt that you arrive in, and then keep the gym shirt clean for after, right? So anyway, this was a quick one, looks maxing on the go. Looks maxing on the go on a budget. Remember your bag of moist towelettes and your alcohol cleanser, and just a couple things you can keep in the car at all times, you know? I'm not gonna say cologne and deodorant and stuff, because you should already be showered, you should already be clean. That stuff should be like, you know, obvious, right? Anything that's bad, you can do in the gym washroom, right? You can clean your shoes, you can clean your whatever you need to clean. So hope this helps. Thought I'd start the video off with it. Food for thought. as you go up, you kind of twist your pinky in. Right here. Just a little twist. Arm, just kind of retraining it again. I'm finally able to. I'm just gonna go really light and low volume from now on for certain body parts anyway, especially after an injury. You want to avoid volume, I think. And I'm obviously not going to use a heavier weight for my good arm. I don't want this arm to get bigger. Got to rebuild both. Workout just with a hang like this. Hey, what's up, you guys? Cody here. Tonight what I wanted to talk about was self-awareness and the way of life. You know, I'm just on my evening walk right now. There's lots of snow. It's been a really weird winter. Normally we don't get hit with a lot of snow here. We're right on the coast, right on the west coast. We don't get a whole lot every year. We mostly get rain. It can be really depressing for some people, and especially if you're not getting that, you know, vitamin D every day, and you're one of those people where as soon as the cold hits, you don't get outside. That can be a double recipe for disaster, right? You got to keep the body moving, and you can't have the mind moving. Isn't that ironic? Keeping the body moving will prevent the mind from moving, and we want to be able to focus in on what we need to do. Know that we're getting everything we need for fuel, like our nutrition, our vitamins, our supplementation, our protein, our calories, our hydration, all of our exercise, right? Those are all inputs that we need to put into our life. You know what I mean? Like, we are responsible for the inputs. So I'm going to try to make this as good as I can with this light. Otherwise it'll be like super dark. But it's terrible with the light, actually. Turn that off. I'm just going deep in the forest here, so I'm gonna have to make this quick before it gets too dark. But every night on this walk, I go by this house, and it's a beautiful little house in a quaint little neighborhood. Very beautiful, big backyard, big place, barbecue on the deck, nice neighbors, little bit of property. And I have this friend who moved into that house because it's a rental house. The owners rent out the upstairs and the downstairs, like a lot of people are doing in Canada to get by. That's conversation for another day. Anyway, I remember my friend being so excited to move into this place. It had been about a year and a half, maybe 2 years since he was on his own. I want to say more like a year and a half, maybe a bit under, doesn't matter. He'd been living with friends for a long time. He owned his own business. He had his own vehicles. Couple vehicles, right? He had his own. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold. And he had really everything he wanted and needed, right? I remember hopping in his truck. He had like all the best pre-workout powders and protein powders because he worked a physical job. And I remember this guy doing so well. And, you know, him, just like myself, I don't know if this is going to be a forever thing, but we have this thing called addiction, right? Where if you slip up just once, just one time, the trail that takes you down, it can be never ending. Like, that's what you have to understand with true addicts. They slip up once and the addiction takes them until the addiction is, you know, chewed them up and spit them out till there's nothing left. You're lucky if addiction even gives you that when you're really just done, right? And that's just from one time. So that's exactly what would happen to this guy. And it would take him so long to get out of it, so long. And this was what, like, he was a good looking dude. He could go out, he could get a girlfriend anytime he wanted. He just couldn't see it. He had lots of friends around him, but he still felt this emptiness, this never ending emptiness inside him that he was no longer able to fight. And I'm by no means disrespecting or even want to give out like the slightest bit of information. This is a hard thing to talk about. It's a sensitive topic, and I think the best thing that can happen is we can remember him and talk about him and kind of dissect his experience from what we know and try to put the pieces together, because there's a lot of people who cared about this guy. And we can relate to a lot because, you know, he was maybe 6 months before me, but we both went to the same treatment center. We both showed up with nothing but the clothes on our back, and he was able to build success so fast. But you have to understand, success is subjective, right? When I see success at that point in my life, and even still to this day, because I've never had it, I see someone in like a company work truck with their last name on the side of the truck and a box full of tools and all that stuff, and I'm like, wow, that person must be doing great. But you never know what's going on inside, right? He could have his own company with his name on the nice truck and all the nice pre-workouts, everything, protein powders. He even gave me a big $20 container of peanuts just because I said I was hungry. Like, that's the kind of guy he is, right? He was. And I'll just tell you what I know. He had this slip after he built his business, after he built everything. He slipped up. Took him a while to come out, but he still had the business. So he was working, building it back up. There, this might work a little bit better. And then he started seeing this woman who, like, he says he was so in love with her and it hurt him so much. But she was like getting out of a divorce when they started seeing each other. This is like what I know. I could be totally wrong, and no one's a bad person here. It's just my opinion. You know, it's subjective. Like, this might not even be reality. This is just what I saw. I could be totally wrong. But this is what, like, you know, what I saw, what we talked about. I'm not going to reveal like personal stuff. I'm just going to say what I think can help other people, and to be aware and to know that there's so many of us who have been there and who can relate to it. So this woman, I guess, chose her husband or something, that she was divorcing over him, and it crushed him. And he just had this like pit that he was so broken by it, but at the same time, it had been so long since he's had anything serious, right? And as addicts, I feel like we have a real tendency to fall in love very fast. and fall for like things that we don't necessarily like. It takes us a long time to build and get to know ourselves where we truly know what we want. At the time, he wasn't there. I feel like he was too new to recovery. It had only been like a couple months for him. I feel like that was just such a big shock and adrenaline rush of being with this girl that he was just so broken when it was over. And he slipped up, but he came out of it and he built himself back up stronger than ever before. And what he did this time was he stayed with friends, right? Because it helped keep him accountable. It helped him not feel so lonely. That's what I think. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything to be like ashamed of. We've all felt like that. It takes so much work to get to a place where you're not lonely and you're like totally cool being by yourself and whatever, like being able to talk to people on the internet, that's great, but you're totally fine sitting by the fire, roasting some wieners or some steaks, being with your dog. That takes a long time to get to that point in today's society, right? I feel like I'm always saying previous generations, I feel like they didn't really have that as much as we do. It takes us, we can't just be like that by default. They could. But for us, obviously it's something like, whether it's the social media or, the fast-paced rhythm of life, we have to fight to be able to be comfortable alone and in our own skin, right? That's crazy to think about. So yeah, I just really wanted to dissect that and be like, I've been there too. And what I'm saying is we have to be aware of tendencies that we have and protect ourselves from these being lonely, being scared. There's so many people that are going to be hurt by his no longer being with us, right? Is that fair for them? Is it? I don't know. I don't think life is fair, and I think crazy stuff happens, and I think like we just have to be there for each other so this doesn't happen. I don't think it's a matter of strength. I think it's a matter of like everyone is so disconnected from each other, and there was no one that he felt like he could come to and talk about this and share how he was really thinking and really feeling. Because if you're going to do something like that, you've been thinking about it for a long time, right? Imagine not having a single person that you can really talk to. And we have to understand that at the end of the day, we come into this world alone and we leave this world alone, right? And something like we need to learn to be not only alone, but we need to learn how we can connect and find our tribe, find our people, right? And not let a woman come into your life and hurt you so much because you're so like that. No woman wants that, right? Like if you think about it, I don't know, I could be wrong, but like people want you, I am probably wrong, like people want you to suffer to some point if they don't get their way, but a good woman will not want the worst for you, right? A good woman, if you guys like didn't work out, would be like, oh, you're a good person, I want the best for you, like, right? That's like us guys, like, a good man, if a relationship doesn't work out, you still want the best for the woman, you still like want to do everything you can to like, be a good spouse, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but like you still want the best for people, right? Everyone. You don't want to wish harm on other people. That doesn't do anything good for you whatsoever. Like, don't wish harm on anyone, not even your enemies, right? You have to raise up. Like, I truly mean what I say. When I'm saying this right now, like, you got to get to a place where you don't wish harm on anyone, I think anyway, to have inner peace and to be able to phone cut out there. But yeah, you want to get to a place where you don't wish harm on anyone and you just want peace for everybody, right? What else would you have to do? Well, I think you would have to be able to do some serious reflection, and I'm saying be able to be self-aware. and to be able to look at the truth and the fact and sit in the pain of like, if loneliness is a big thing for you, I say stop beating yourself up over it and start thinking about it and making actions towards healing that. What are some actions you can take to heal that stuff? Well, the very first thing, again, be self-aware and be able to admit, okay, this is a problem I have. I need to work on it. Guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed about. That takes a man to be able to come out and say, yeah, I have this problem. I get lonely. I need a woman with me at all times. I don't know how to live my life without a woman telling me what to do next. Okay. What's the first thing you can do now? You can go fold your own laundry. You can wash the dishes. You can do things that are small, little micro steps. Start with the things at home, right? Clean up after yourself. Start cooking. Start doing different things to provide for yourself, like exercising. Go for a walk. Eat some food. Make your bed. Do your own dishes. Do everything yourself. And stand on that. And take pride in that. And instead of again, this comes back to what do you got to do to make yourself proud in the day? You might need to exercise a few times. You might need to do some work, go for a walk, eat well, simple stuff. You start doing that, you start stacking these wins, it becomes incredibly simple. The bad feelings aren't simple, but they do start to work themselves out when you're putting in the work every day. The things you have to do and challenging yourself, right? Things that you want to stop doing, actually keep track of that and hold yourself accountable and have real conversations with yourself. You start doing those few things. Exercise every day. Take pride in taking care of yourself, having good self-care. Take care of the small stuff and do it consistently and repeatedly. Journaling, having a bedtime routine where maybe you put your phone away and you read a book or you journal, or you pray or you do something every night that helps set the tone. Put some salt lamps on, put some nice music on. Go on the computer, your phone. Well, put your phone away, but put the music on. Don't look at your phone. That's another thing. You shouldn't have to put your phone in another room. You need to build the discipline to say no. That's a good exercise, right? Being able to sit with the phone beside you, and if it rings, who cares? Don't look at nothing. That's a good way to exercise the mind. Maybe at first you might have to put it in another room, but maybe there's a way you can progress into eventually just challenging yourself. Challenging yourself is good for you. That's another thing to put on the list. Just make a routine for yourself, a daily routine of non-negotiable tasks that you do at the same time every day. Start small and start at home. And definitely get in the gym and get on a basic program. All you got to do is legs and shoulders, then triceps and chest, then back and biceps. That's all. Do that for the first few months. You are going to be set. You're building a solid foundation. That every other day, go to the gym. You're working each muscle once a week. Do that for 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then pop it up to every other day or every 3 days on, 1 day off. You can do it that way too. So just get started, right? Make a routine of walking, do some push-ups, do some leg raises. These things are going to raise your frequency so much, and you're going to be sleeping better, feeling better. You're not going to have these random depressive moments, anxiety moments that come over you. You will, but this is how you start making improvements and managing them. Food for thought.